Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commission. And thank you for allowing me a few moments today on the agenda to update you on our Roads Tomorrow initiative. And special thanks go out to Chairman Miller for being our visionary leader that consistently inspires us to identify a bright future. Although it takes everyone in MoDOT and it takes everyone in Missouri and beyond for Roads Tomorrow to be successful, I do want to acknowledge and introduce our formal Road to Tomorrow team members today. So with me today, we have Bob Brindle out of our communications team. We have Jen Harper out of our research team. We have James Flom from Kansas City District, and we have Kellen Burns out of our communications team. John Nelson is also on our team. He could not be with us today. He's on a well-earned vacation this week. So that's the formal team members. Again, it takes a whole entire team, and we've been at it with quite a few MoDOT employees. So there's some of them in the crowd that have been putting a lot of time into this also. I did want to acknowledge before we go any further, just to reemphasize that we are live streaming on Ustream TV right now. People are watching it via Facebook. Some of our actual innovators have been dying to hear exactly what am I going to say to the commission, so and what the commission's response is going to be. So they're watching us right now live. So we've been utilizing a lot of social media to reach out there to those innovators across the world. Our team, I hope you can tell, continues to be very excited about Roads Tomorrow. Although we've been at it 3 months, there's still a lot of work to do, and I'm going to update you on that. We all believe, I think our team, as we talked about the presentation today, that I guess to say we all believe to stay ahead, you have to have your next idea ready. All right, so let me go back in time. 3 months ago, on June 3rd, at the Highway Commission meeting in Kansas City, Chairman Miller launched our Road to Tomorrow initiative to a room full and actually overflowing in Kansas City Union Station. And with lots of media there, and we got quite a bit of media coverage that went on beyond June 3rd to really kick us off on a good start. On that day, on June 3rd, some of the things that I wanted to remind everyone of, and especially our new commissioner, Mary Nelson, was that Chairman Miller stated, quote, "It's only appropriate that the rebirth of the nation's interstate system begin at its birthplace." And Missouri has always been at the heart of the highway transportation, not only because of the state's geographic location, put it at the nation's core, but also because of the role it has played in the realization of Eisenhower's dream. And MoDOT's Road to Tomorrow is open to any and all ideas. So that gives you a taste of how Chairman Miller kicked us off. In response to that, on that day, we had a quote from our governor, Governor Nixon. Governor Nixon shared in his quote, "As we continue to work to identify a solution to transportation funding needs, I appreciate the Missouri Department of Transportation for taking a proactive approach and embracing new technologies that will pave the way toward a brighter future." So as you can tell, we started off with a lot of good momentum, and I think we still have that going. So 3 months ago, we began. MoDOT offered up 200 miles of I-70 for a laboratory of innovations, known as the Road to Tomorrow. Now, we had an extra twist in this, as many people have asked me, well, are other DOTs doing this? I've talked to many reporters, many innovators. Are other DOTs doing this? And yeah, there's innovation in DOTs, but I don't know that we have quite the same twist. Number one, a couple things I think that differentiate this. We don't have any money, so there's no exact prize. So I want everybody to understand, Road to Tomorrow wasn't given tons of money to actually accomplish. Minor issue. But on top of that, we also have this unique opportunity that we are looking for innovations for Road to Tomorrow that drive us toward that bright future that can actually be new funding mechanisms. And that's a twist that not any of the DOTs that I've found, not anyone Federal Highway or US DOT is really taking. So it's gotten a lot of attention, and it's really helped us focus as a team. All right, so everybody wants to know, where are we? 3 months later, it feels like we've been fishing for these innovations, and there's a ton of our team members that have been fishing for them. So what have we caught? That's what I've been asked. So what have you caught? So I'm going to share with you, in general, this was last week. Now we're over 180, so I couldn't update the slide, but we're over 180, I guess I'll say, submissions. So those are fish that we caught, if you will. over 180 in 3 months, and they all have value, so that's pretty good. I have been using numerical ways to categorize the other ones, but today I was thinking maybe I'd go with bronze. So those that are sort of like ones that we really wanted to look into, there's about a third of that 180, so about 50 right now that I have personally spoken with. I mean, when they submitted it, they were interesting enough that, hey, I got to call them up. And so I've been spending a lot of time on the phone, a lot of time in meetings with all these 50-ish innovators. And so I'll call them sort of the bronze ones that were really new to us. They were really new innovations that we really hadn't always thought of. And we really wanted to understand what they were thinking and were they really able to implement this? Did it bring new funding with it also? So then if I go down to that next category, the silver category, that's where the team, my Road to Tomorrow team, has really spent a lot of time. Once they got through me, then I started turning them over to our Road to Tomorrow team, and they started really meeting with some of those innovators. So those that are in the silver category that we've spent a lot of time on the last 3 months, there's probably about 15 really high quality ones that we're really diving into. And I'm still, that's silver category, so I'm still not telling you yet who's in the gold category yet. We have not identified that yet, but there'll be a gold category. I just want to give you some buckets and themes as we move forward, because I can't talk specifically about a lot of the innovations, because what we have found is a lot of them are innovations and ideas, and these people do want them to be confidential because they don't want somebody to take their innovation and idea, and some of them are pretty proud of them. So going on, I'm going to share with you some of them. I want to add some meat to the bone of the fishing that we've been doing, and I'm going to put them into buckets or themes, if you will. So you have 6 themes up there. I'm going to start with our energy and utilities theme. Now this starts with, I'll say, Solar Roadways. Solar Roadways is a real company out of Idaho, that's already been through 2 rounds of testing with Federal Highway. So they're becoming a real solar roadway. And solar roadway that produces electricity, so could not only pay for itself, but could, if it all proves out right, as they're trying to build a company here, actually provide a revenue stream for us. Now, my normal day job at MoDOT, I'm in charge of all of our operations. So the other thing that really excites me about solar roadways, it also produces heat. Doesn't seem appropriate today, but in December, you'll get what I'm talking about. We don't have to plow snow on a solar roadway. Now, Solar Roadways is not ready for paving I-70 yet. They have not progressed their product that far yet, but they're definitely interested in our Road to Tomorrow and definitely would like to see themselves in Missouri, possibly at one of our rest areas on I-70 in 2016. So along with that, under this energy, we have just general solar energy. There's some DOTs that have already done it on their right-of-way. There's also windmills, wind turbines, solar panels that actually double as sound walls, which sort of goes back to our earlier presenter this morning. There's incorporation of electronic vehicle charging stations on our right-of-way. Under the utility side of this bucket, I would say there's utility easements on right-of-way that can produce long-term leases and pay for road maintenance and improvement. So on the trucking side, if I move into there, we have Peloton Trucking, who started with us. They were with us on June 3rd when we launched, and they are a real company. They're one of the 15 that we're looking into, and they electronically link trucks to improve fuel and safety of our trucking, and they want to operate in Missouri. Also in the trucking, we have a Mo Truck Ferry and a drive-on, drive-off truck ferry. Both of those innovators we're working. James has been putting a lot of time in meeting with them. They simply want to get trucks off our highways and onto railroads, if I keep it simple. And then in that trucking efficiency, we have a lot, and I think you might find it interesting. We have a lot of innovators that have shared their idea that they want to see dedicated truck lanes, and that's something we have studied in the past, but there is a momentum in that category. On the advertising side, so I just say there's lots of advertising. I mean, I got innovators that want to advertise on everything. They want to advertise on the back of our highway signs, on our pavements, on the pavement, I say, on our overpasses. They want to advertise digitally. They want to advertise on our dynamic message signs along our interstate system. And some of them want to advertise personal messages such as happy birthday to mom. So advertising is quite a big category there. If I go on to this data and communications, it sounds sort of boring, but there appears to be a lot of money there because of the Internet of Things, that we all have more and more connected devices in our lives. These innovators that have approached us here want to have corridor along the interstate corridor-wide Wi-Fi. They want to have corridor-wide fiber-based communications. An example of this is a real company, Neo Networks, who was also with us on June 3rd when we launched Road to Tomorrow. Moving on to the various funding proposals. I would be remiss not to say that we have received through our Road to Tomorrow a lot of comments about simply toll the road. So there are those comments out there. Now there are also, I think I have to note that there's some of those comments that get pretty explicit, such as toll the road for people that don't live in Missouri. Just saying. There's also comments in there about high occupancy vehicle lanes or high occupancy toll lanes. So add a high occupancy toll lane to I-70 and make that lane pay for itself. Also in there, I think it really goes well with what we've talked about this morning. There's a lot of feedback in there about just simply raise the taxes that we already have to pay for our transportation system and to pay for I-70, such as our fuel tax. But now, various funding proposals also include a little outside the box thinking, such as more tax on our tires, on our vehicles. It includes more tax for speed. It seems like everybody wants to speed, and some people are actually willing to pay to be able to speed. It includes taxing for more weight. There's a lot of our heavy vehicles out there that would like to be heavier, and they are willing to pay to be heavier. It also includes community improvement districts, transportation development districts along the corridor. So if you can imagine a certain swath along the I-70 corridor, everybody within that swath through an increased sales tax would help fund the maintenance and improvement of I-70 across our state. Moving on to my final category of alternate travel and freight choices. This includes everything from Elon Musk's Hyperloop, and if you haven't heard of Elon Musk's Hyperloop, type it in the internet, you'll learn a lot. And he's really serious about it. It also includes Tim Sylvester's subscription-based integrated roadways, and Tim Sylvester actually met with the Highway Commission in 2014 before we ever even launched Road to Tomorrow, and he is still a very active member in our Road to Tomorrow Innovators group. Alternate travel also includes high-speed trains, bullet trains, monorail, extended or expanded Amtrak service, and again, sort of running trucks on trains. The freight choice side of this is basically to utilize right-of-way as shared easements for transmission lines, so fiber optic lines, pipelines that could haul natural gas, could haul oil, and I even have innovators that want to haul stormwater in pipelines. Stormwater, you might think, that's outside the box. Why would we haul stormwater? Well, if you remember a few months ago, we were dealing with a lot of rain in Missouri, and other parts of our country, especially to the west, wanted some of that water. So some innovators believe that if you put a pipeline, Missouri could sell water to California. Okay, that's sort of on the freight choice side of things. So as you can tell, we have a lot. I could go on a long time. I could fill up the rest of your agenda talking about the innovations that we are looking into. We have a lot of very good innovations. I would say to summarize that, we don't have any real easy ones, unfortunately. And we don't have any, so therefore I don't have any easy ones that make easy money for us to pay for our transportation system or I-70 yet. Although we're not giving up, and we're going to work on some of these. Okay. Although we have many great innovations that have been submitted and are being reviewed, we need more. So my Road to Tomorrow team and MoDOT Road to Tomorrow program needs more innovation. So we likely haven't received the best yet. We need you as a Highway Commission to continue to raise awareness to Road to Tomorrow and to get us more innovations. And we need everyone out there listening on Facebook and in the audience to raise awareness to Road to Tomorrow. The door is open for these innovations. We need them now. We need the best innovations out there. So please raise that awareness and solicit more innovations for us. And today I'm proud to announce that to make it even more formal, MoDOT is actually putting a governmental-based approach to this. So we're going to do a request for information that's being sent out today that'll make certain that we don't miss any audiences. Now the next step for us, we want to return to you we expect in late 2015. So in a few months, we want to return to you with a much more detailed list of these innovations. And that will be including sort of policy and some legal challenges that we have for these, and a return on investment with some of these innovations. So if we change these rules, if we go down this path, if we take a legal risk here or there, what kind of money could we actually have that could come to Missouri's transportation system? That will allow you, so I'm preparing you as a commission, that in late 2015 we come, that'll allow you guys an opportunity to identify the innovations that are worth pursuing going forward with as we go into 2016. So in closing, I would say it's time to think differently. Missouri's Road to Tomorrow is an opportunity to shape new expectations about who we are, about what we can become, and how we pay for public works. Missouri's Road to Tomorrow will ensure that we are not late for our appointments with the future. So thank you. That concludes my statements. I'll take any questions.
Great, Tom. Thank you. Well done. And to the team members that are here, thank you for all your work. As I mentioned yesterday, with this team, I get to talk with you guys every other week. We have our 8 in the morning on Fridays kind of report card, and it's been, in 3 months, quite frankly, you've exceeded my expectations in terms of what we could do in starting this new venture, and I'm glad to see that the momentum continues to build. So let me throw it open to any questions from any other commissioners.
Lots of exciting stuff, Tom, and I want to commend you and your team for the great work you're doing. And, Missouri just needs to be the pioneer in this, and it's great. It's a great deal. We need to get legislation in plan for next year so we can find some funds. And it's exciting. It's kind of over my head. I kind of like the tax deals to speed. I pay the tax.
It's looking like a true car dealer.
But anyway, thank you guys. Great work.
I was just thinking back just a few months ago when Commissioner Smith and I were sitting down with the chairman, and his eyes were just bright and lit up as he told us about this idea and trying, asking our opinion of it and thoughts. And then, I don't know, not too much later, he did the same thing in front of our executive staff and got a lot of blank stares and, scratching the heads. But, I mean, it wasn't very long that those blank stares, they got that spark in their eyes and lit up. And that fire hasn't gone out. But I do remember that the chairman never said anything about it being easy. And I will promise you, if you find the easy path, we'll hold a special meeting, I think, so you can announce that. But I really commend you on the work that you've done. It's taken a great step forward, and I'm just excited to see what happens as we move on. So thank you guys, all of you.
We kind of thought he was crazy at first. Great.
Tom, you might, we're a little bit ahead on our agenda, and so I think you've piqued the interest of people in here on some of the examples that you gave out there. Some of them you've mentioned remain confidential, and we, to the extent that innovators want us to respect that, we respect that. But there are several companies that you mentioned that are out actually marketing their products. But in terms of firing the imagination, I'm going to ask you to share just a little bit more detail about what some of these companies are already doing or envisioning. And so I'm going to, first, you mentioned solar roadways. Which has gotten, I know that's gotten a lot of interest in our social media. So maybe could you kind of flesh that out a little bit more and explain to all of us kind of their vision of the future and what they're already doing?
Yeah, Julie and Scott Bursaw from Idaho, Standpoint, Idaho, have, and Scott is an electrical engineer, and they're in Idaho, and they're pretty green parts of our country. So they really like green energy, and Scott and Julie, husband and wife, have created solar roadways. They've already gotten a couple of federal grants. They've already gone through testing to toughen their solar panels so that they can be driven on. They have currently constructed with federal highway research dollars a parking lot, and they currently, as we are speaking, are actually building a street, a sidewalk, and a real parking lot that's being used in their community in Standpoint, Idaho right now as we speak. They want to get all that done for this winter. The parking lot they built was a small parking lot on, adjacent to their building that they build these solar panels at. They're a real company and they're exciting to talk to. I mean, the vision of the future, if it can be pulled off that they have, they're seeing the future where they would build solar panels. In fact, they said, well, if you guys might get in the game, because we need a Midwest factory to build our solar panels once we get really rolling. And they have a timeline of when they expect all that to happen. So they do want to have a footprint farther into the heart of the Midwest. So they were excited about Road to Tomorrow. And interestingly enough, they're our most popular one on social media. We actually finally got to talk to them through social media. Our innovators in social media kept putting pressure on them to return Tom's phone call. And so one day I finally got a phone call, and they said, we got to call you. We got to start talking to you guys because our fans, Solar Roadways fans, want us to work with you, Road to Tomorrow in Missouri.
So they're building a material that would allow them to capture solar energy that would also stand up as a roadway and could be driven on, could be used as, you said, a parking lot. So for us, at our rest areas, might be a natural spot.
Could power the rest area, could create possibly enough electricity to be put back into the grid, possibly for $1, for money, but it also heats itself. It also has, I don't need to stripe it because they have LED lights built into their panels. So I could, do different things with that lighting mechanism. But again, I'm excited about them. They're a real company. They have a very, they're investing a lot of time, energy, and money. They've already raised a lot of money to actually implement Solar Roadways. So there's a lot of momentum behind them. And I think hooking them up with Missouri through Road to Tomorrow can be a great success.
Let's choose another one. What other one would you like to share in terms of giving an idea of what's out there?
Anybody want to jump?
We can hear some from one of our other team members. Somebody that's you're really excited about one of them?
All right. I'll let James talk.
Come on, James. Let's hear from you.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about Peloton. With Peloton, their concept is when you look at trucks that travel down the roadway, two of the big things that the trucking industry has to deal with is fuel efficiency and basically safety of the trucks as they travel. And so what Peloton does is it retrofits trucks such that the two trucks traveling down the roadway communicate to a network operations center. They, once they're communicating with this operations center, they will get within 30 feet of each other, and then they will link, the two trucks will actually link through this network operations center. And so what happens is the first truck that's driving will control acceleration and braking for the second truck. And so the second truck still has the responsibility to drive, to steer, to pay attention. It's not like the second truck can just go to sleep. But what this does is, by getting these trucks so close to each other, 30 feet apart, it drastically increases the fuel efficiency. Also, by linking these trucks together, if let's say a car pulls ahead of a truck, that lead truck can apply its brakes, and then the truck behind is automatically applying its brakes at the same time. So the safety, they say, is also increased through that. And so what they kind of envision is not like 90 trucks all linked together, but what they envision is two trucks going down the roadway. They communicate with this operations center and say, okay, we're ready to link up, and then those two trucks are just going down the roadway connected together. So you have these various trucks linked together as they drive down the roadway. And so this is a real company that has piloted their idea in 4 different states at this point, and they are very much interested in coming into the state of Missouri. And they also have support from FedEx and UPS and some of our big carriers. So there's real interest to get them into the state at this point.
Great.
So,
good. All right, I'm going to let you pick another one that you like, and any of the other members of the team that want to talk about anything they're working on.
Sure.
I've been working with the company Neo Networks. I don't want to give too much away because it is proprietary. But several years ago, when they started building up our internet system, our fibers, they never envisioned that people would be doing anything more than sending texts, making phone calls, that type of thing, maybe surfing the internet. Well, now people are streaming videos. They're using a lot more bandwidth. So those of you probably 4 or 5 years ago, you'd go to a Cardinals game, your cell phone wouldn't necessarily work because so many people were trying to use the data. And so this is a company that has been working to do things, put boosters, things like that, in these different locations, in places where there's a lot of people that are using a lot of data. And so they've been working with individual companies, individual buildings, putting these on things like that. And then they started looking at who are the big landowners. If we're going to be branching out, looking at more places, who owns the most land? DOTs are one of those. And so that was their idea, is if we can work with the DOTs, we can start putting these type of things along our roadways. It's going to benefit the carriers, it's going to benefit the people, and it might also bring connectivity to some of our areas that may not be able to get it through typical methods.
Great. Okay, I'm going to do one more. Maybe we can just talk about integrated roadways, is what they're doing, or
Well,
pick one other one that you
All right, so integrated roadways is like a smart highway, a subscription base. I want to twist it if I can, Chairman. I want to talk a little bit about integrated roadways is again a smart highway, has a lot of great features, but to twist it a little bit, I want to go down, one of the things that we've talked a lot to the Chairman about is connected vehicles, smart vehicles, and I can guarantee you, you've heard a lot in these conversations since we're funded from a fuel tax, how fuel efficient our vehicles in the country are becoming. We don't talk as much about the fact that every vehicle you buy now, anyone in the crowd or anyone listening that's bought a vehicle in the last year, I bet you that vehicle is more connected, more intelligent than the vehicle, and Greg's nodding his head because he's selling them, right? So those vehicles are becoming smarter, and we as motorists are desiring them because generally speaking, I believe we are all to some degree distracted drivers. Life distracts us from the habit or the need to drive. And so those connected vehicles are really a innovation, and they are, when we talk about the road tomorrow, it would be remiss if we didn't talk about smart vehicles. And one of the things, as we all spend a lot of time digging into that, and some of our innovators bring some of that connected vehicle, smart vehicle to us, we're still trying to figure out how to go back to that road to tomorrow and figure out how do we have a smart vehicle that pays anything more or at least equal to what the dumb vehicles pay. So that's sort of where we're struggling. There's a lot of cool smart vehicles that are coming, self-autonomous driving vehicles and everything, but right now, we have not found the magical twist to say how is that self-driving vehicle is going to give us any more money to drive on our underfunded roadways. I don't know that actually answers it. If anybody has the answer, reach out to us through Roads Tomorrow and let us know, because it's cool. There's a lot of cool vehicles coming out there on the market. I'm sure we have a lot of car dealers out there who would sell you now. I got a ride in one of the 2016 Volvos recently. It has a lot of cool features in it, and it's for sale now. So there's a lot of cool vehicles out there. So.
Tom, what were you were talking about Leon, Tesla, what's his last name?
Yeah, Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Elon Musk with Tesla. And so, yeah, he has, Tesla being a very sporty looking electric vehicle, has some self-driving features, and he's trying to even grow that even faster and more furious than other dealers out there. But he has a lot of dreams, and he has a lot of momentum behind a lot of things. So he's been building the world's largest battery factory because he believes the world is going to be powered by batteries. And he has a momentum there. Well, he needs the batteries to run his cars. So he didn't like the batteries he was getting, so he's building his own batteries. But he also has a Hyperloop, which is like a vacuum loop. So most of us would see it as when you go to the bank or the drive-through pharmacy, you put the little thing in a vacuum packs. So, vacuum sucks into the tube. Well, he has a vision that we could do that. And you think, well, that's really crazy. Well, it was actually done many, many years ago. And they're just reinventing it. So he actually has real money, and they're going to build a real pilot Hyperloop track in 2016 in California. They have real engineers working on Elon Musk's Hyperloop project right now. So you will hear more about it over the coming year.
Tom, in Europe, I'm sure you've researched to see what's going on there. Can you enlighten us a little bit? Are they ahead of us technology-wise, or are we keeping pace with them?
Well, a lot of the Europe, on a lot of what I've talked about so far today, I'd say we're keeping pace with them. Now Volvo, BMW, and stuff like that have cars on the market right now that you can buy that have some leading technology built into them. So from that standpoint, They're ahead of us. I think the thing that really, from a Road Tomorrow, twisting in the financing of future transportation, where they lead us on is, and some of our innovators have said this, I teased you with, taxing for speed. Well, all of us, whether you've gotten to travel overseas or not, have all dreamed about what does the Autobahn really look like and how fun would it be really to drive on it.
Scary.
Yeah, so those that have gotten to do it, have a little bit of reality to that, but most of us as Americans have heard about it and dream about it and think, hey, that's pretty cool. So yeah, they're ahead of us on, ultra high speed interstates. They're ahead of us on some of the ways that they pay for, whether it's actually through a tolling or a little tag that they put in their vehicle country by country. They're ahead of us on a lot of their enforcement of traffic laws through automated technology. They're ahead of us on some of their the quality of their vehicles and the inspection that they do, so they have a lot less crashes because their vehicles are. I've heard from some of our innovators. One was talking to me this week about how he had a 5-year-old BMW that wouldn't pass inspection in Germany, and he had to invest thousands of dollars in it to get it to pass inspection, and he just was blown away. But that's how tight they were on the inspection of their vehicles, and they wouldn't let him on the roads until he upgraded his brakes on his vehicle.
One observation I had, if you're one of those that are prone to drive the speed limit in the passing lane, you'll get over that. Because they will run over you.
Yeah.
And I was talking to one of the Polizei there about crashes. And he said, oh, we have very few crashes on the Autobahn. But he said, when we do have one, it's spectacular.
Yeah.
But Tom, some of the other things you've seen coming out of Europe, for instance, also relate to some safety things where they're providing enhanced marking at night by new either fluorescent or energy storing products that will provide greater visibility at night. We see some of that coming out. We've seen some of the proposal you talked about, wind power, actually small little almost pinwheels that would generate low amounts of electricity that would power devices that would again light the road, et cetera. So, I think the point in this is that this is a global enterprise, and we've looked so far at inviting people to come to Missouri, but we also want to take Missouri and look out towards the world. So I know part of our goal here is that we're going to be looking out, as Commissioner Pace said, not only to see what innovations we generate here in America, we want to embrace those, but there's a lot to learn from the rest of the world as well. We need to have that big a vision. So with that, I want to thank you, Tom, and I think we will look forward towards the end of the year. I think we'll actually be in Springfield, I think in December, maybe that'll be our time frame. But I want to encourage all of you, this is something that starts out slowly. As I said, I think the response has already exceeded my expectations. Keep up the momentum, and we'll look forward eagerly to your next report.
Oh, yeah, I got to mention on social media as we wrap up, we are doing a moonshot. So if you go to Solvex Moonshot, for all those out there, especially those that are listening to us on social media, check that out. We actually launched our moonshot today.
All right, I'm not going to let you get away because everybody's saying, what the heck is a moonshot? Okay, and I'm working with this program. So,
A moonshot,
Kellen, you want to come tell us, Kellen, what a moonshot is? Unless, how many people in here already know what a moonshot is?
Greg, can you tell us?
I see no hands, Kellen. So you have an eager group.
Can you tell us?
Yeah, so Kellen, educate everyone in the room.
Well, thank you, commissioners, for allowing me to speak a little bit. Really, I'm going to steal from Solve4X from their website to accurately portray really what it is in general, but it's kind of an online innovation forum. So all the innovators out there globally, as you tasked us to search globally, they go and review this website for people's ideas and essentially solve the issues that are presented to the world. But their mission actually is, or their idea is, the world needs more ideas, not fewer, and more commitment to sharing them freely and openly so that collectively we can test run them and turn them into reality. Exactly what we're trying to do with finding the road to tomorrow.
So I know when you were explaining this to me, in my rudimentary understanding, I said, is this something like a chat room? But as I understand, there's a particular problem that's posed, and then solutions are invited, and the moonshot becomes a place where everyone can come together in a kind of virtual reality to address a particular problem.
Yes, whoever would like, we solicit their ideas to solve our problems.
Great. And so Road to Tomorrow is going to be part of the moonshot.
Yes, we will have our own moonshot.
Perfect. All right, I'll expect to hear how our moonshot's going when you report back. All right, well, great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.